Hi, I'm Pamela Salzman. Welcome to my cooking show. Good to have you here today. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a very popular drink at the moment, and one that I actually enjoy myself, which is a matcha latte. I get a lot of questions on Instagram about how to make it, and I thought this would be a perfect video to show you. So I first want to just talk a little bit about matcha. Like, what is it? Why all the hype? Well, the fact is that it really is good for you, and it's kind of like a tea, but you don't brew it like a tea. You're actually consuming the whole leaf, which is ground up. They're like young kind of green tea leaves, and they're grown in the shade. So when they are grown in the shade, they develop something called chlorophyll, which is really good for you, lots of antioxidants, and something called L-theanine, which is also really good for you, and it gives you this like stabilizing, calm feeling, but at the same time, the matcha also has caffeine, so it keeps you kind of alert, which is perfect. I'm actually really sensitive to caffeine, and matcha is one of the only caffeinated drinks that I can consume and feel really good at the same time. So there's a couple of ways that I'm going to show you how to make matcha. You can just kind of make it the straight way with hot water, and you dissolve all of that powdery, substance in your hot water, and then just drink it straight. And you can also make it into something like a latte, whether that's with real milk, almond milk, coconut milk. You can sweeten it, you don't have to, but a lot of people are also using matcha in other ways, not just drinks, by putting matcha into your chia pudding, in a smoothie, even in things like pound cake. Now, I'm not going to say that consuming matcha in a pound cake is the best way to get those benefits, but it does add a nice, fun green tint to different things. Now, when you're choosing matcha, I really like the ones from Japan. Those are the highest quality ones that you can get. If the matcha that you have has like a brown tint to it, it's not great quality. And I hate to say it, but you get what you pay for. The more expensive ones are going to be the better ones. So let's get started with making some matcha. There's a couple of ways that you can do this. Now, the traditional way is to have a matcha bowl and then a whisk. And some people have this little scooper. I actually don't have all those things. I do have a whisk, which I'll show you now, but any wide cup will do. And I use about a teaspoon of matcha powder per 8 ounces of hot water. I don't use boiling water, just hot water. So if you have an instant hot on your sink, you can totally use that. Otherwise, just water from your tea kettle is fine. And when you first put your matcha in the cup, don't add all your water at once. You just want to add a little bit, almost to make like a loose paste. And then you're going to take your whisk and go in kind of like a W or an M motion, and just keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It'll take you a good minute or so. And then once you notice there's some frothing and foaming at the top, it can get kind of like bubbly almost, that's when it's going to get nice and creamy and you've done your job. Then you can pour in the rest of your warm water, and there's your matcha. Then you can feel free to add a little sweetener if you like, but that's pretty much a basic matcha. Another way that you can go if you don't have the whisk is you can take something like an Aeroccino or a frother, and again, start with a small amount of hot water. Make sure that it's enough to come up above the frothing unit, and then just press on. At this point though, you want to start with cool water in a frother, because it won't work if you have hot water. It's designed to just shut off if you're using hot water. So just go for about 30 seconds, and that way the matcha will get dissolved and it'll get nice and creamy in the same way that you just did it with a whisk. Again, another way you can go is with a blender. So you can put hot water into your blender with your matcha, just press on, everything will get dissolved beautifully, and it will also get nice and creamy. So those are 3 ways that you can make a basic matcha. What if you want to turn it into a latte? That's also delicious. So some people do it differently, but I like to do it where it's kind of almost half hot water and then half an almond milk. I don't drink cow's milk, but if you did, you could totally use cow's milk. And so you can heat up your almond milk, or again, if you're doing it in a frother like an Arancino, that's gonna heat up the milk for you. So I start off by putting in my hot water and my matcha, dissolve it, pour it into my cup, then I add my almond milk. You can add some sweetener at this time if you like. I just press on, the almond milk gets warmed up and frothy, and then I pour that into my cup. But feel free to do it the way you want. If you want it to be all almond milk, or almond milk and coconut milk, or all cow's milk, just do it the way you want it. It'll just make it even creamier. It's that simple. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this technique for making matcha, and I'd love for you to join me in the kitchen again sometime soon. If you have any questions, or if you have other ways that you love to use matcha, please comment below. I'd love to hear your techniques too. See you soon.